Protect your privacy online with the best VPN for gaming, ExpressVPN, and visit expressvpn.com/GhillieMaster, linked in the description, to find out how you can get 3 months free. Hey everyone, and welcome to part 7 of my Cayo Perico Heist Mastery Guide. Today I'm going to walk you guys through all of the prep missions, and along the way we'll discuss which ones are worth doing, and some tips for those missions, because to be honest with you, a lot of those prep missions are useless and a big waste of your time. So starting with approach vehicles, there are 6 options here, but you only need to complete one of these missions. We're going to go through them all though, but if you're looking for a fast heist run, then the long fin and the vellum approaches are the way to go, as those missions are the easiest ones by far. Starting from the top is the Kasatka prep. You have to steal the sonar jammer from another submarine, except it's really just the Bogdan sub interior reused in this mission. And the best way to do this is to fast travel close to the yellow marker in your own submarine, and then either drive your submarine and park it directly next to the one you have to infiltrate, or you can take out your Toreador and also park it next to the other submarine. Trust me, this is going to come in handy later down the line. Once you're inside the submarine, this is the part where it's kind of a pain in the ass. You have to look for the jammer and fight your way through, and the submarine is one of the worst interiors to fight through because it's just so claustrophobic and makes it really awkward to aim around the place. Not to mention some of the guards have assault shotguns. But once you make it through all the way to the jammer, then it's time to escape, and you'll soon see why I told you to set it up a certain way. The moment you exit the submarine, there's going to be a swarm of goons just waiting to gun you down. And since you're underwater, you have no way to defend yourself. And this is where if you parked your own submarine directly next to this submarine, then you just swim a couple of feet and be done with the mission. You don't even have to go above the surface. In my case, I hauled ass to my Toreador and got out of there as fast as I could. And I still almost died because the Toreador has that glass roof. If you didn't set up either of those, you're gonna be in for a rough time and it's not gonna be fun. I mean, it's not a fun prep mission regardless. It's probably one of the worst ones in the game actually for the Cayo Perico Heist, but this way makes it at least a little more bearable. Next up, we have the Aldonos prep missions, and yes, I said missions, plural, because if you want to enter Cayo Perico with the Aldonos, it requires you to complete 2 missions instead of the usual 1. The first one has you stealing the plane from a hangar in the military base. The game will give you the option of turning off the lights inside for a more stealthy approach, and you always want to do this, especially when you're solo. Otherwise, you'll have to gun down tons of enemies at different heights inside of the hangar, and we all know how much fun that was in the Avenger prep mission for the Doomsday Heist. Once you're inside, you need to find the laptop to unlock the hangar doors. One of the spawns for it is going to be on the right side of the hangar when you enter. It's actually in the exact same spot where you use your own laptop and your own hangar. The other spawn is on the bottom floor on the side across from here, and in my run I got a bit too close to one of the guards and I got spotted, so he started shooting at me, but as long as you find the laptop before this happens, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. After the hangar doors are unlocked, all you need to do is run towards the plane and start spamming Y or whatever the enter button is on your platform, because with this plane it'll just teleport you inside, that's how big it is. And then quickly exit the hangar, and as long as you can fly and land it properly, that's all you need to do for this mission. Next up, we have the pilot prep. Now, there are 2 different versions of this mission. I'm only showing gameplay of one of them. You have to go steal the Rogue back and then fly it up to Sandy Shores. This one doesn't take that long, and it's pretty much identical to what you have to do for the scope out mission. Helicopters do try to chase you down, but they're way too slow for it to even matter. You can just easily outrun them. The other variation of this mission has you going to a house in Vinewood Hills and taking out all of the loan sharks. The interior is the exact same as the stilt houses, and there's enemies all over the place. It's a pretty straightforward mission, but I do think the Rogue mission is easier. That brings us to the vellum approach, and I don't really have too much to say about this one. It's literally a carbon copy of what you do for the scope out mission in Cayo Perico. You head to where the plane is located, take out a group of enemies guarding the plane, and then steal it for your own use, except you're not flying to Cayo Perico this time, you store it in Miguel Madrazo's hangar. It's one of the easiest missions in this video. The most annoying part is just flying back to the airport just because of how slow it is. Then we have the Stealth Annihilator prep, which again, I don't recommend because just like the Aldonos prep, it requires 2 missions, but if you for some reason complete the pilot mission for the Aldonos prep and are doing the Annihilator Stealth mission, then you don't have to do the pilot mission twice. The Annihilator mission, I would say, is easier than the Kasatka prep, but harder than the Aldonos one. You have to invade a yacht, but you can't do it with an aircraft because you'll just get shot down by the defenses, so your job is to turn off the air defenses after taking out all the enemies, of course, and then steal the helicopter. I just hate missions where you're just put up against the aimbot AIs. I just don't find it that much fun, especially as a solo player, which is what I assume 80% of Cayo Perico Heist players are, since it's a solo-minded heist. It's just a nuisance to do this mission when easier ones exist, but yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. And just when I started mentioning nuisances, we have the patrol boat prep, and my god, if you didn't know any better, you'd think this mission was the heist finale itself. For the Merryweather version of this mission anyways, apparently there's another version, but I can't see that one being any better really. Please listen to me when I say to never do this approach. Never use this approach vehicle. Just use the other ones. This mission will single-handedly shorten your lifespan by about 5 years. Jokes aside, the game tasks you with turning off the 3 security panels in order to open gates, but before you even do any of that, you need to first take out the 50 enemies inside this place. I highly recommend the stone hatchet if you're solo. I went on a nice little rampage, but even that wasn't enough to eliminate every single one of the guards. I feel like there might be more enemies on this prep mission than the entirety of Cayo Perico if I'm being honest. Once you take out the enemies, then it's time to start turning the panels. The middle one is easy enough to get to. My main gripe though is with the other two. The second one is up the stairs, and I figured, well, it shouldn't matter which stairs I take since they're all connected, right? And boy was I wrong. You have to take the middle staircase to get to the second panel. And then the third panel, I was absolutely baffled as to where this one was at. I had thought it was outside of the building, so I did some like Hitman type ledge walk to get out there, only to find out that it wasn't there, so I had to do the same maneuver to get back in. And it's actually located in this room right here. Now, I've been playing this game since the day it came out, and I never knew there was a room right here. Unless it was just added for this mission or something, because I feel like I would have used this if I knew about it before this mission. Anyways, you'd think after all that work that you could finally escape with the boat, right? Nope. Now you have to go back up the stairs and use the main terminal to open the gates. Only after that can you finally steal the boat and leave. But that's not all. Now you have to take out 3 groups of Merryweather helicopters. And the way I did this was I just shot them with the FMJ revolver and they went down in about 4 shots each. I could have probably gotten on one of the gunner seats, but then I would have exposed myself to gunfire, and I'm not trying to get shot out here. After the helicopters are destroyed though, now you can drive the boat to the drop off in peace. And even though it's not that far away, it sure does feel like it because this boat is slow as shit. Like I said, don't ever do this approach, or if you do, just do it for the reward and nothing else. Don't do it ever again. And to finish off the approach vehicles, we have the good old long fin, my personal favorite approach. Next to the Vellum, it's one of the easiest setups and is most definitely the fastest approach vehicle mission to do. You have to steal the boat from a police station. It's either going to be at the La Mesa one, the Vonwood one, or the Vespucci one. The game will give you locations for trucks to use, but honestly just call in the Phantom Wedge because it makes the mission so much faster. The MOC works too, I'm pretty sure, but the plowing part of the Phantom Wedge does come in handy. Once you have the boat, the path I like to take is down these tracks. And then you just make a right turn towards the docks where you have to drop it off. And if you still have the cops, just get out and blow yourself up. And when you respawn, you won't have any more cops to deal with, so you can just drive right in. Moving on to the equipment, there are 4 missions here, and they all say they're mandatory. However, only 3 out of the 4 are technically mandatory. You can either choose demolition charges or the cutting torch, and let me give you some advice: don't choose demolition charges. The reason for that is that this mission sucks. You have to go take down some O'Neill brothers, only for the game to tell you, oh wait, the charges aren't actually here, they're actually at the O'Neill brothers farmhouse, which you then have to infiltrate. You have to find the basement, only to find out that it's blocked off and requires a key, so then you take out some more O'Neill brothers and eventually find the key, to then head downstairs and take out more enemies and retrieve the demolition charges. Now you can either do all that work, or you can do the cutting torch prep, which has you go into a construction site, putting on a hard hat so you can roleplay as Bob the Builder, and searching toolboxes to find the torch. It's as simple as that. Obviously you need to first scope out the drainage tunnel to have access to this scope out mission, but by now you should already have that if you watched my previous episodes of this heist guide. Both the demolition charge and the cutting torch preps do the exact same thing. They both allow you to cut open the gates without using bolt cutters, but the cutting torch is a million times easier, so don't do the demolition charges. The next set of missions are either going to be the safe codes if your primary target is bearer bonds, or the Madrazo files if it's your first time doing the heist, or the plasma cutter if it's anything else. The safe code you steal from the casino inside of a penthouse. There's going to be 2 guards at the doorway. You're going to want to take them out quietly to enter the penthouse without being compromised. So you can do what I'm doing here and get a sniper collat, or if you're really sneaky, you can use an RPG and it won't alert anyone either. When you're inside the penthouse, all you have to do is find the guy, which is much easier without people shooting at you. And once you do find that guy, I recommend smacking him with the stone hatchet. He's going to take 2 hits to kill with it. He's going to be a bit more tanky than all the other enemies. But the main reason I recommend this strategy is because it gives you extra protection when searching his body because of the ability. From there, you just have to leave the casino and lose the cops, and then you're done with this mission. It's not that hard. On the other hand is the plasma cutter prep. For this one, you have to travel to a safe house to gather some intel for Pavel. You don't even have to look for it. The moment you walk in the room, you can just take out your phone and take a picture of the bulletin board, and it should register to send to him. The next step is stealing the plasma cutter, and the way I like to do this is to first call in the Oppressor Mark II. If you don't have an Oppressor Mark II, you can call in any kind of bike you want really, and then spawn in some BST, and this is going to help you tank the bullets of the aimbot AI. If you don't use BST, you're going to get melted if you try to do this, and then hop on the bike and go to town. You can also steal the objective without even having to get off the bike, which is really nice. You can just swoop down in there, take out a few enemies, and then be on your way out within seconds, and then you just take it back to your submarine for the mission completion. Up next is the fingerprint cloner prep, which is probably the easiest prep mission because there's a very minimal amount of combat here. First, you have to make your way to a warehouse, and then you can either choose to disable the cameras or not. It doesn't make that much of a difference either way. The only difference it does make is that you'll have stealth until you shoot your first bullet, and if you don't disable the cameras, then the guards will be alerted the moment you enter. Once inside, just take out the 4 or so enemies. Beware, one does have an assault shotgun, so just be careful because he will ruin your day. Also, be careful with using an RPG in here because although that might seem very easy, if you do shoot an RPG, there's multiple vehicles in here which will cause a chain reaction explosion and you'll die. Then you simply just do the hack and move on to the next destination, which is the archive. This one you can actually shoot the cameras, which I recommend doing as it only takes like a second or so, and if you're in auto aim you can auto lock onto the cameras. But if you do get the area underneath the highway, then you can just avoid the cameras line of sight as well. On the inside, the fingerprint cloner is always going to be around the same area. It's always just in the back here. I don't really know why they didn't add other spawns for it. They have this entire building, but choose to put all 3 or so spawns like 1 foot from each other. I mean, I guess that makes it easier for us though, so I can't really complain. And then you just take it back to your submarine and it's mission complete from there. And that leaves us with one more main prep mission, the weapon loadout. And no matter which weapon loadout you pick, you'll always get the same kind of missions. Now, if you get the mission where it says go to the Meriwether HQ, do not, and I repeat, do not do this mission. It takes a stupid amount of time for the helicopter to travel to its destination, and it's just extremely boring and time consuming. If you ever get this mission, you're going to make sure that your Kasatka is next to the Meriwether dock, you're going to hop on the missile station, and then you're going to fire a missile at that slow ass Valkyrie. Blowing it up will end the mission so you can get right back to starting it up again, and if you get the Meriwether HQ again, just rinse and repeat this method until you get a mission where you have to raid an office. A lot of people will tell me to just switch sessions if I get the Meriwether prep mission, but the missile method is much faster and I find it to be much more efficient. As far as the office raid prep goes, it's pretty simple. Just make sure you enter through the roof using the Sparrow to land on the building. You can actually do this mission in full stealth, which is kind of cool. You just have to make sure you hit every single guard with a headshot in a certain order, but in the end it doesn't do anything for you aside from not set off the alarm, so it's entirely optional. Helicopters, for instance, will still chase you down once you exit the office, even if you do it without setting off the alarm. Aside from taking out the guards, there is a short hack minigame that you'll have to do before unlocking the weapon stash, but that's about it. You just need to get back into your helicopter and fly back to the submarine safely. So that's all for the main prep missions and the ones that I recommend doing, but we also need to discuss the disruption missions. These are entirely optional, and if you are doing the heist in full stealth, which you should be doing, then you can simply ignore these. Completing these prep missions would only help if you're doing the heist for the aggressive approach. The weapons prep has you taking out El Rubio's arms dealers. And don't do what I do in this gameplay. You're going to want to take the Hydra for this one just because of the explosive cannon. The reason I'm using the Pyro in the gameplay is to show that for some reason you can't lock onto the targets unlike literally every other PvE activity in the game. So the Pyro is kind of trash for this. Not to mention one of the arms dealers is a literal juggernaut who eats like 5 missiles before dying. All of these prep missions are pretty much the same in their design, the disruption ones anyways. You're just going to blow up something. The armor mission, you're going to the disruption center to blow up the armor shipments. There's some located outside, and then you have to go inside and blow up some more. And then you destroy a tugboat as the last objective. It's really not that difficult. It's really straightforward what you do with these missions. The air support mission, it's pretty much just a reskinned headhunter. Again, I recommend using a Hydra, but you're just flying to each location and strafing the parked buzzards. It's not very difficult, just time consuming if you're solo. And again, in the end, these missions don't offer you anything if you're playing the mission stealthily. Anyways, those are all of the prep missions and my thoughts on which ones you should do and some of my strategies for completing them. If you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. Huge thank you to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.